For the people that are trying to scam you out of stuff, they want to find that trigger point and they want to figure out who you are emotionally, because there's different personality types. If you're a natural born skeptic, you're less likely to fall for these kinds of scams. If you're a natural born helper, healer, and somebody who is a fixer, you're more likely to be scammed in every way.
Bring it on!
Welcome to Girls Gone Gritty. I'm Farley Boyle.
I'm Darian Boyle.
And I'm Jennifer Brenius.
Collectively, we're two sister-in-laws with our bestie.
We don't just talk, we do it. Day, night, mountain, beach, and city.
Get ready as we bring gratitude and attitude to everything we do.
We jump in head first, unafraid, and we're all in all the time.
We bring it on and get it on each week, diving deep into authentic, unscripted conversations
on just about everything.
So, let's get gritty.
Bring it on! Bring it on! Don't wait until tomorrow.
Well, it's Thursday. We appreciate you tuning into Girls Gone Gritty. I'm sitting here with my best friend and co-host, Farley Boyle, and we are in fall to the max and running like crazy people. It's been a good, interesting couple of weeks. My son, for those of you tuned in last week, is doing well. He's on the mends, and I had to run to Florida to see my other kids. It's been an absolute whirlwind, and I'm back in studio and happy to get my groove back of my regular life. I got to be honest.
I was in Florida taking care of my aging father, and it was a very nice visit. He's in hospice. And to be honest, hospice has made him healthier, which is very messed up. And we'll probably make that an episode at some point in time.
Because he was off his meds, right?
A lot of meds. And all of a sudden has clarity, and his cognition capability came back, and he was enjoyable. And I timed my all-class reunion, and that was fun.
How many people did you recognize?
I recognized a lot, but I couldn't put their names to their face
Right,
because people have definitely changed. 36 years ago is when I graduated, and I have not seen some of these people since my 25th reunion, and some of them I haven't seen since I graduated. So it was a very fun weekend.
Oh, that's awesome. And I was in Florida with my kids for parent weekend. I had a great time. I hadn't seen my sons in 2 months, and I know many people haven't seen their kids and won't see their kids till Thanksgiving. So
the Gators won too.
It's a nice win. It's a nice Gator win. And my mother has been dealing with cancer, and we celebrated her end of her treatment. And if you caught our episode on Disney, I can attest it was busy. It wasn't packed. It wasn't crazy. I was in Epcot for the Food and Wine Festival, and there were not as many foreigners. I asked a couple of the people that work there. They're recognizing that they need to rebrand things because the opening of the Universal new theme park hit them adversely, and they haven't updated a lot of their rides, and they feel dated. And the animatronics don't do it for people anymore.
No, I remember going to Universal and being like, whoa, they have an edge.
I will say the manner in which people operate in the theme parks is like no other. People don't know how to be cordial in lines, and they think everything is about themselves, and it's contagious.
Great people watching until you get your foot run over by a wheelchair
Jazzy
as somebody is eating their giant chicken, and then they walk to the line.
I can also say that the Food and Wine Festival, we didn't partake in a lot of the food. We drank the wine because it just was so much food. We had a great time. It was amazing, and I was happy to have the opportunity to be with my mom and my sister. Also felt very awkward. We kept reminiscing about being with the children. I've never been to a theme park without my kids.
You guys have T-shirts made?
We did not. We thought about getting ears, but I couldn't find any ears I liked. So what do we have today, Far?
Starting off at number 1, polka dots have been the rage for quite a while, and even in the zebra community. Born from a melanin mutation known as pseudomelanism.
This adorable little zebra, Tira, born in Kenya, is fascinating people because she's so cute and different. And who doesn't want a
polka-dot zebra?
Polka-dotted zebra.
We're going to post the photos so that you guys can believe it when you see it, because we couldn't. So that's why it made it onto our top 3. Coming in number 2, the Nonna movie has inspired Italian grandma gear known as Nonna core.
I have to admit, I haven't seen the movie. This may inspire me to do so. What is it called? The Nonnas. It's a grandma, the Italian grandmother who takes the doilies and creates fashion from it and the curtains and makes a whole outfit, and it looks amazing. That's so cool.
It's a trend. A vintage kerchief can become a multitude of things. You can wear it around your neck as a tie. You can put it on your bag to jazz up your bag. You can make a scarf for your head, which is what the Nonnas are known for doing. And you can also make it into a bandeau, a kerchief top, and you can make it into a skirt too, like a sarong type. But the Nonna movie, for those of you that haven't seen it, it's a great adaptation to a real story about a heartbreaking loss for a boy of his mom and his grandmother at similar timing. And he decided to find a restaurant space and could not pay a chef. So he put a reach out to the Nonna crowd to get real grandmothers to come in and do their Sunday sauce and to cook their authentic meals. And the restaurant is called Enoteca Maria, after his mother. And it's in Staten Island to this day. And it's won multiple awards for the food and for the ambiance. And I think that we should go. That's on my list.
Well, having an Italian mother-in-law and grandmother, they pride themselves in food. I have a cookbook that was my great-grandmother's, and it's inspiring because they recognize the importance of good taste. And I think that parlays into fashion, right? Good taste in food and fashion
across the board.
It's just cool. So I love that one.
Going to our number one, the NBA's betting betrayal leaves fans questioning the future of all sports, pro, college. What's real? What's not? Who's sitting on the bench for the right reason, the wrong reason?
If anyone saw the Netflix docuseries Flagrant Foul that got buried by the NBA, if you look, there's historical data on this having insider information and changing the outcome of games. It was a problem then, and it's a problem now. And to Farley's point, you don't know what's really real when you have humans involved. And don't we always want humans involved? Now we have the mafia, which is enormously scary. And they had these NBA players be the face cards to lure in the fish and steal millions is terrible. And unfortunately, it's going to lead us to our episode today.
They had these high class, big time poker games. And the card dispenser was rigged, and they had x-ray tables, and you could join a poker game and play with a famous NBA player. And meanwhile, they got fleeced because they got sucked into the glamour of playing with a pro.
They were playing with a pro.
Yeah, they were playing with a lot of pros.
And everybody at the table was in on it. That's the other scary part. There was one person that was not in on the gag, and they obviously took him for everything he could. It's sad because people don't know what to believe and don't know what's real. And that's the broader statement too.
Let's just talk about the greed. The greed is so nuts. Look at Chauncey Billups. He was $106 million paid player. That's a lot of money. And he was making $4.7 million coaching. How much more money do you need, dude? It's greed on top of greed. These guys that were making money already had millions and millions.
I completely agree with that. But I do think you get to a place where people have a run rate, like we referenced a couple episodes past about Justin Bieber having to sell his music catalog because he was
living life
beyond his means. There's also some sub stories of it being motivated by other things, like they're being targeted, whether it's within the NBA or politically, that this is not actually what's happening. And the full story comes out many years later, if you're lucky. So we shall see. We'll be following the story. And if you have children at home that are gaming or gambling, make sure that you are on it, because again, with the technology piece that we covered in last week's episode with the Balance Project, you are giving your kid a device, then you don't know what they're doing on it. And if they're able to access money,
credit card,
they make it very easy for you to lose.
Our episode today is on scammers and fraud and scumbags, and we're going to give you a glimpse at the current trend with email phishing, texts, phone calls, everything. You name it, our phones are responsible for bringing in perpetrators, and we're going to help highlight who they are, what they look like, and what they're doing.
And if we look back on history, snake oil salesmen, they've always been around. People have always been trying to steal from other people. This is a game changer. Laws in this country are very different in other places. So if they can infiltrate your home from another country, they're unreachable. And a lot of these scams that we'll talk about today are from China and Myanmar and India and countries that the extradition of it is not possible.
But your email is on your device. before you'd have to sit down at your computer to check it. Now you get pinged when you get an email
or it comes via text message.
Or it's text, or you get a WhatsApp. It's all right here on this device. So we're very accessible and there are no boundaries. We're going to give you a list of the scary ones to watch for right now.
All right, let's go.
I unfortunately have been scammed, and I'll talk about the most recent one. And we're going to post what these texts look like because I'm the recipient of several of them. My daughter also just got scammed. E-ZPass, any type of MTA transit that you have an account with, they have your credit card, you're going through tolls, and all of a sudden you get a text that basically says, hey, your E-ZPass account, the card has expired, or we were unable to collect a toll, which means your account's going to be put on hold. And the last thing that you want to do is have to wait in a toll booth line, right? So it looks legit like a transit update when there's any type of traffic. If you have Nixle in your town, if you're getting any warnings about delays and accidents and whatnot, it hits your text or your inbox and looks legit. And all it wants you to do is click on a link. They just want you to click. As soon as you participate, they have access, and you don't even have to give them information. Sometimes just clicking a link gives them the accessibility that they're looking for. And then it becomes an interactive exchange. Just know that E-ZPass and all these different transit companies are never going to come to you via text. You're going to go through a toll and it's going to say toll unable to be collected, or they're not going to reach out to you via text to tell you that there's anything wrong with your account. So do not acknowledge any of those texts. My daughter just did it at college. She thought, oh no, my E-ZPass, she's driving home for Thanksgiving. She was like, my account's going to be suspended. I'm going to have to wait in all these lines. She did click on the link. She did give them our credit card number. Thanks to the dual authentication, I got the second verification code, and she called me to get the code so that she could give it to the scumbag. And thankfully I was aware of this E-ZPass scam. And I said, no, that's a scam, Abs. Did you give them our credit card numbers? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and shut down my credit card. By the way, if you don't know that you can do that, you can go into your banking online if you have an app, and you can go to any of your credit cards and lock them. That's what I did immediately before I ended up calling the credit card company. And thankfully our account was not compromised, but that's just one.
And I'll interject on that. There was a recent New York Times article about this, and this authentication is even scarier for those of you that are listening at home. If you do give them a credit card and then they give you an authentication code, people feel like that's legitimate because they think it's your bank legitimizing it.
Right.
And it is. What ends up happening is your credit card is now in someone else's digital wallet because you've authenticated this transaction and this device. So now your credit card sits in somebody else's digital wallet. And what they will do is they will give that digital wallet to somebody else that is close in proximity to where you are, where it won't get right away.
That just happened to us too. Yes. Thank you for reminding me of that story. When we were in Australia and then Bali, I had been told multiple times that your digital wallet can be taken from you electronically, technologically, somehow. I don't know. In the airport, they said, don't have your phone out. Don't put it in your back pocket. Keep it hidden in a bag because there must be some type of device that can suck your digital wallet. I don't know how they do it. You don't have to see it. I didn't believe that. Well, we're now in Bali and my card is being used all over Italy. And I'm thinking, I have my card. My kids are with me. Well, what happened is the first time it was used, it was in LA at Raging Waters, a water park. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. It wasn't a European transaction. It was in California. So I immediately called the credit card company to report that. They shut it down. However, because it was a card that was being used digitally, they had already done so much damage.
Because they can share it digitally.
They can share it digitally. They don't need proof of ID. It's not like you're showing your ID like in the old days. You had to show your license and sign, and they would check your signature to your driver's license signature. But they blew it up and rang up $18,000 worth of charges within, I want to say, 24 hours. And I was annoyed because here I am traveling, and now I have to shut my card down, and they couldn't give me another credit card number that I could use temporarily because they only can ship them to your home. It has to be a physical card. So yes, that just happened with the same card that just got
hijacked.
Yeah. My cards just keep getting hijacked. Yes.
Stolen. Well, I think to Farley's point, the digital nature of the credit cards has become increasingly problematic. And again, back to the digital credit card, what they're doing is they're creating these boxes, SIM card box. So someone will have a SIM card box in someone's home in the United States. And what that card will do is it will represent all different phone numbers. So there's all these different SIM cards like you have on your phone that will then text out to as many people as they can. And everybody's phone number is random bunch of numbers. So you could theoretically figure out 732 area code where you are. So that seems like it's a legitimate phone number and it's texting you, or it mirrors a number that you would be familiar with. So it will come very close to looking like a Chase number or a Disney number if you're in Walt Disney for the weekend. The people that are up to these scams using these SIM cards know how to make it look as close to real as possible. And when they use these SIM cards, it's untraceable. These boxes are all over the country. And again, this information goes back to places like Myanmar, China, India, where they take these wallets and replicate them everywhere.
It's so
that's
frustrating.
probably why yours ended up in Italy and California and every other place, because it doesn't matter.
Is anybody else getting these annoying loan offers?
All the time.
It's constant.
All the time.
I blocked the number. They're calling my phone. They're texting my phone and they're telling me that I qualify, and I might get 8 calls a day. And I block every single number and I actually report them and they keep coming. I don't understand it. And it is a recorded message, but it sounds like somebody's talking to you, because I've said, lose my number, take me off the list, which does not work because it's a recording. And I don't understand. Do they think I'm really going to push one to be connected to a loan officer?
It doesn't matter, because the conversion rate for those of you that have been part of these scams is in percent, but it doesn't matter because it requires no skill, no energy, because I'm doing everything digitally. If I hit 1% of a million
in the United States,
100 million
in the United States in 2024, $470 million was stolen from people like us in scams. 61% get a scam text once a week. 20% get a scam text once a day.
That's me.
24% have been tricked at least once. Hello. And most scams are less than $1,000.
Yeah.
And, you can get scammed in so many different ways, even Instagram. I got scammed out of my Instagram handle, which really pissed me off because I had a business affiliated with it once upon a time. It's like a walk down history's lane for Squirtini Bikini. I don't know why they would want my Instagram. I don't know why they would take it from me. I don't do business on it. It's not a way of getting money. Scumbags can make their own, but they wanted mine and they hijacked it. And it was hijacked for a good 2 weeks. And finally, my tech savvy daughter, Mackenzie, helped me figure out how to do it. Because when you try to go through the infrastructure of Meta, if you're not a verified celebrity, you're not getting any help. You're shutting it down. You're losing your information, you're cracking your head against the wall in frustration. But I wanted it back and I prevailed. I will tell you, once a week, somebody is trying to log into my Facebook fraudulently. And I'll show you what those texts look like. It'll say, if you didn't try to do this, then ignore or don't give the code. I have this constantly happening. I'm not sure what the obsession is with my Facebook or my Instagram. Unless they can get more information internally.
The other thing that people have been getting scammed on is the healthcare scams, where somebody says that they're in urgent need of money and you have to help a family member. And I think the problem is that when there is an urgency and an emotional connection, people will start down a road because
they think it's somebody that they know.
They're in a fire panic,
especially older people.
And if you know more about a Farley Boyle or a Jennifer Brenius, it makes it easier to figure out what your trigger is. It makes it easier for them to figure out what you might jump at. And if they get to know you digitally, they don't care about you. They're not like looking at like it from that standpoint. Maybe some people are stalkers, but that's another episode. But for the people that are trying to scam you out of stuff, they want to find that trigger point and they want to figure out who you are emotionally, because there's different personality types. If you're a natural born skeptic, you're less likely to fall for these kinds of scams. If you're a natural born helper, healer, and somebody who is a fixer, you're more likely to be scammed in every way. Nobody wants to get taken for any amount of money, whether it's $20 on the street or $1,000 digitally. But the pig butcher scams are the ones you really have to be careful on, because those are the ones, and everybody's seeing them. You've won $500 and all you have to do is this, and you get the $500. So now they've built a little bit of trust, and the $500, they're happy to give you, because what they're really going for is your bank account. What they're really going for is a much bigger nut, because they've done their research knowing that you will throw down thousands of dollars if you think that you've got a legitimate person you're dealing with. So they'll do things to prove to you that they're real. The old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is.
Where did they come up with pig butchering?
Well, I think it's because they take it to slaughter. It's like they've got a nice big fat pig,
Oh,
and they're going to lure them into the slaughterhouse with like.
I've never heard that term.
It's not mine. It's not.
No,
mine.
I know.
It's not my original thought. I think it's terrible too. But
Somebody hijacked my email at one point, because yes, I am one of those people that still have an AOL account.
no, they still were in.
I use AOL as my personal email beyond my Gmail account. I used to communicate on AOL with my parents. And so I kept it because it's nostalgic that I've had this yogiog at AOL.com for so long. Somebody definitely hacked it, and they were able to see that my dad was my treasurer and accountant for Chase for Life, which was my nonprofit at the time. They intercepted emails showing that obviously he's my father and there's a role in my company that deals with the finances. And this person sent my dad an email. Hey, Dad, I made a bad business decision and I need, a $3,000 loan immediately because of XYZ PDQ. But they used language and terminology that had to do with my business. And they were familiar with what my dad and I were doing. So these people will make sure that you have income coming in. Like I did a sale and I've got net terms and I have to wait 90 days on a PO, but they're going to front me the money on the PO so that I have working capital. My dad called me, and thank God he did. He was like, wait a minute. He's like, what did you do here? He's like, I want to understand this so that I can help you. And I said, what are you talking about? And then he said, didn't you send me an email saying this? And I said, no, I didn't. And they had provided a link where my dad could make it very easy to give me the money that I needed quickly so that I could, get out of trouble with one of my customers. And it was a phishing scam.
It's terrible.
Elderly people, they get scammed often because of nostalgia. A lot of times it could be they think that they're writing a check to their country. They're writing a check for whatever cause related thing evokes emotion for them. My dad, once again, this was not an evoked emotion. This was his HVAC install. He was getting a new air conditioning.
This one's terrible. Actually.
Yeah, this is,
people that are in your home.
Yes, these are people. That's why we're putting a little bit of a highlighter on the elderly, because we care for them so much and they are often taken advantage of. But my dad wrote a check before they would come in and start doing the work in his home. He had to give him a $15,000 partial payment. It was a 2-payment deal, 15 up front, 15 upon the completion of the job. He did give them the 15,000 up front. And at one point they were there multiple times stalling, and his checkbook must have been out. He wrote a check for $15,000 upon completion, and they didn't take it from him when they wrapped up the job. He put it in the mailbox to send it. Somebody intercepted that in the mailbox. They took it, they changed out the pay to name. They put their own name, whatever it was. It was like some bogus whatever. And that check cleared, and my dad was out the $15,000. And then he started getting calls from the HVAC company saying, hey, where's our final payment? He said, what do you mean? I've got $30,000 missing from my account. I've paid you. They said, we never got that second check. So that being said, we had to go to the bank, and it was 3 months before we could get the money back.
But
and
they did cover it because it was FDIC.
They did cover it, but it was somebody that was working internally at the HVAC company, because they also had a similar experience when they put their rent check for their warehouse in the mail. Their warehouse never got it, and then they realized it was somebody on the inside. So there's so many different ways that you can be taken for a ride. And unfortunately, we have to have eyes in the back of our head all the time.
In this day and age, some of the people that I deal with prefer a check. And,
right.
You're giving a lot of information off on a check. You're giving like your routing number, you're giving your full account number,
your address,
your name, address,
sometimes your phone number.
It's a lot of information that's on a check. And I don't know that it's any different in your digital wallet these days, because I feel like they've gotten even smarter, but I do wonder about the security of checks.
I don't trust a digital wallet. I know it's convenient, but I've been burned multiple times now with my digital wallet. And the multi-factor authentication, it's MFA. if you're not showing your driver's license, somebody can steal your phone and do it. You don't need anything unless
Facial recognition.
Yeah. recognition.
Okay, so we need face and thumbprints, and now people are just going to kidnap you.
I know.
It gets horrifying.
It's true. It says never provide personal information. Legitimate companies will not ask for sensitive information like passwords, credit card numbers, or social security numbers via email or text messages. So just beware. And this happened with me the other day. Jen and I were on our way to go play paddle, and a Chase number called me. It said Chase Bank, and they were telling me that my Zelle account had been compromised. And Jen's like, that's not normal. She's like, something's off there. And I'm like, well, it came in as a Chase number. And I feel like I'm talking to somebody that knows about a transaction of mine. Now, they didn't know the exact transaction. Once again, they can kind of throw out a blanket statement that you feel like, oh, wait, that's familiar. Or I just did that. Or
Exactly.
I did just use my Zelle. And maybe they know when you use your Zelle. Who knows? I have no idea. But I was a hair away. They transferred me to the next department. And I said, hey, I don't feel good about this. I'm going to call Chase on my own accord. Well, here's the number. This is the number that you need to call. And I said, no, I just Googled it and I'm looking at a different number. And I did call my bank to see if that was legit, and it wasn't. So in emails, they can take a header from a real company. Even with the Instagram scam that I had, the DM that I got was from Meta, verified, and it was an Instagram header. So they've gotten very smart. They can find a phone number that somehow has Chase attached to it. I don't know how they make it.
You can almost reach and pull anything off the internet in a screenshot. And if I can do things, I don't
know how you make a phone number come up as a Chase.
It's kind of like when you see multiple people in a text string, the first one may look right, but that's the other red flag. If you ever get a text message or an email and you recognize that you're one of 18 people on it and you don't know anybody else that's on it, huge red flag. I think that the takeaway on this is always like, keep your fortress tight. I don't even pick up a phone number that I don't recognize. I let everything go to voicemail. And there's been a couple of times I've missed important things because I'm like, I don't recognize that number. And I'm like, you know what? For most things in my life, there isn't that much of an urgency.
Until your phone rings at 3:00 in the morning, like mine did. And it said that
this is a bad one. Though.
This is a bad.
This is a really bad one.
We had heard through the grapevine that a lot of people can figure out from rosters at the D1, D2, D3 level. They know that they're dealing with athletes. So they can go to a team and they can say, okay, here's all these kids' names. And then they read their backstory. Abby Boyle grew up in Rumson, New Jersey. She went to RFH. Her parents are Farley and Patrick Boyle. It's not that hard for them to
shows
put
where you live. It shows your phone number.
Exactly.
It
doesn't show your phone number in the roster, but they can.
All you have to do is Google it.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit of information.
Yes, that's a great exercise. Google yourself and see how much information comes up. It's mind-blowing. It's scary. So long story short, we were told in advance, thank God, before this scam happened, that there have been people that were getting phone calls in the middle of the night from police departments saying that they had picked up their child who had been drinking as a young freshman. So obviously it's illegal underage drinking. That's their big go-to. And we got a phone call at 3:00 in the morning and it said Columbus, Ohio Police Department, whatever it came in as. And I was woken and terrified when I saw it. And I answered the phone and they said, hi, is this Farley Boyle? And I said, yes, it is. Well, this is Sergeant or Officer, blah, 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 with precinct, Nonna. So they gave me like a precinct number and he gave me his name. He gave me his badge number. And he said, we picked up your daughter who was drinking underage and they wanted to do us a favor by not reporting her so that she wouldn't have to pay the consequences as an athlete if we donated to their police fund. It was something.
We'll make it go away.
Something ridiculous like that. Now, thankfully, we had known. So my heart stopped racing and I got on my phone immediately and I went to Life 360 and I could see that Abby was in her dorm room. And I had my husband call her while this was happening because now you want proof of life. We couldn't get her. So that was stressful. We did get her the next morning. We said, hey, we're going to call the police department and see if they have our child. We hung up on them. We called the number back, but we did *67 where it
doesn't show your number.
It doesn't show your number. And believe it or not, this guy had an outgoing voice message that said his name as an officer, his precinct number, and his badge number left on his voicemail.
And that's a felony, by the way.
So what I did is I called the actual police department. I had told them exactly what happened. I gave them this phone number so that they could see that he had taken somebody's identity that was working for the law enforcement agency. So they go all out to try to hoodwink you. And that was scary. I did not like that.
Yeah, that's a scary one. And again, that's how they prey on you. You know, you have a kid in college who's far away from you, and they get you in an inopportune time, 3 o'clock in the morning, when you're not thinking as clearly. Thank goodness you're sitting next to your husband, and thank God you're not a
Thank
single
God we had
parent.
heard the story, or else I would have gone AWOL. If I did not know that that particular situation existed, I would have been a mess. Scammers create a sense of panic to make you act without thinking. Slow down, independently verify any urgent request, which is why we called the police department immediately, which is why I hung up and called Chase Bank about the Zelle fraud. As crazy as your energy and your heart starts to race because you've got that adrenaline rush, remember, 90% of what's going on right now are scammers, frauders, liars, criminals trying to take advantage of you. And 1 minute of like not thinking clearly allows them in the door, and that's how they're making money.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. If you have an elderly person out there, if you have somebody that you love that is by themselves, make sure you check on them all the time. There are legitimate organizations looking for donations. I'd say also check if they are making donations to places, if those are who they say they are, because again, they've gotten really good at just making it appear that they are representing somebody that's legitimate, and they're not. So when you're taking care of finances, personal information, your family, slow it down. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. If there's any sense of urgency, then call the people you need to, call the authority, call the bank, call somebody you love and ask them, what do you think about this? Get a temperature read. Say, like, what do you think I should do here?
They'd say share as many stories as you can, because it's a tipping point. It gets it out there to the masses that this is what's happening. And also to get somebody else's perspective when your adrenaline might be jacked up is probably the smartest way to go. I'll tell you, I unfortunately have been had, and I'm going to share with you my authentic texts. Like, we locked your Instagram account for your safety. To recover your account, you'll need to verify your identity and create a new password. Or pay your fast track lane tolls by February 5th to avoid a fine and to keep your license. E-ZPass, final reminder, you have an outstanding toll. Your toll account balance is outstanding. If you fail to pay by March 8th, 2025, you will face penalties or legal action. So it scares you. It puts you on the defensive. You feel like, oh, something's going to be taken from me. I'm going to be fined. My license is going to be flagged. I could lose my license. They prey on the emotional side of you and you wanting to put the fire out immediately, which is the way I am. If I know that I'm late for something or I want to take care of something, I want it to go away right away.
I think we did a good job of scaring you, and it's a perfect week for that because it's Halloween.
Boo!
But now you don't have to be afraid, and you can trick and treat your way all weekend.
Yes. And learn from me. And I'm not really that gullible.
She's just sweet.
Ay.
She's just nice.
Well, not so nice anymore.
She knows better. Now you get.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting jiggy with it.
Which brings us to our fabulous Got Grit Award this week. We have somebody that is very deserving. Yeah.
He's amazing. So this person lives in Austin, Texas. His name is Christoph Wagner. He is known as the fairy godfather of Halloween. He's a 62-year-old who has decided for the last 9 years of his life that he's going to go to thrift shops, any place that he can find anything shiny, furry, or that appears to be something of a costume type nature, purchase them, go home, old fashioned, back to our Nonnas, create something new from something that's old, create a costume that he is going to take out into the community. He hosts events where kids can come and pick out a costume that can't afford one or don't have access to one.
That's awesome.
And the kids recognize that although Halloween can be scary, it's actually a joyful holiday where everybody should feel like they can participate and dress up in something fun and have a great Halloween.
A
So
homemade
I love
costume
that.
is even better than a store-bought. So the fact that he's going out and hunting and gathering and then putting together multiple costumes for these kids is an incredible, joyful gesture.
Yeah. So happy Halloween to everybody in Austin, Texas that gets access to Christoph. Thank you so much for doing something so simple that resonates with us and is so super gritty, because Halloween is also one of my favorite holidays.
Oh my God. So
It might
great.
be the most favorite holiday of mine, but Christmas is good too. Thanksgiving.
The song that I picked today is one of my favorite songs because I think the lyrics are just phenomenal. They're so creative and it ties into gambling. So I wanted to go back into a sector where it's not about the win but it's about the gamble and the rush. So I'm going to read this and you guys tell me if you've ever heard of this. And don't try to look.
I'm not. I have a guess.
He deals the cards as a meditation, and those he plays never suspect. He doesn't play for the money he wins. He don't play for respect. He deals the cards to find the answer, the sacred geometry of chance, the hidden law of a probable outcome. The numbers lead a dance.
I love that.
It's
I
the
do
best
not know
song
that.
in the entire world, and you do know it, but you just don't know the lyrics.
See, this is why we do this segment for those of you listening, because I do listen to the lyrics and I don't recognize that song.
Heart by Sting is
I have to
amazing.
listen to that song.
You have to listen to it because he creates a storyboard that is so profound, and you are listening, envisioning this gambler that is not in it for the money. He's in it for the sacred geometry of chance.
I love it. And I was thinking, you better know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em,
That would have been
know
good.
when to walk away, know when to run.
Yeah.
I was thinking the actual gambler when you said we put it up. So
Nope.
two songs for the price of one today on Girls Gone Gritty.
One lyric that I love in this song is, but that's not the shape of my heart.
I love that. I
So-
really need to re-listen to that song because I am not picking it up here, but I'm going to get it into my playlist, which again, to remind you, you can listen to our playlist on Spotify. We curate that every week. So that will be on this playlist, and go back and listen to them all. And if you have a suggestion of a song that maybe isn't in our repertoire of music, we'd love to learn more. And that's what we hope you're doing with us on Girls Gone Gritty. We want you to have conversations that are meaningful. We really appreciate you liking and sharing us.
And tune into YouTube as you can see all of the images and the things that we refer to. I'm going to be posting these scams that you can take a look at to see if you've ever gotten them via text. It's a great way for you to see a lot of what we talk about. We bring it to life with imagery. So if you're not watching us on YouTube, check us out. All right. Thanks so much.
Peace out. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Girls Gone Gritty.
You can check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
If this episode hits home, share it with someone who needs to get gritty.
The 3 Gs. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.